This One's Wife. Mike Tindall casts doubt on this one's wife's claims. To understand more about this one's wife and why she behaves the way that she does, you look at her behaviour through the prism of her narcissism. That's why my work is so important. You can see, after education from me, the death stare, the clenching of the jaw, the use of the grip of doom. You understand the numerous instances where she interrupts people, walks in front of them, pushes in front of them, elbows them out of the way. You start to be able to see all of these behaviours. And what you once might have ascribed to nervousness or not really understanding the way things are done or just some kind of anxiety, you now know that when you see those behaviours, you're seeing her narcissism in action. It's also worthwhile comparing her behaviour to non-narcissists also. Then you can see how a non-narcissist behaves as they function without the need to search control, without the necessity of drawing fuel, acting with emotional empathy, and you can compare and contrast the behaviour of non-narcissists with that of this one's wife. And we have another opportunity to do so, this time in relation to what Mike Tindall has to say. Mike Tindall's a former rugby player. He's a non-royal. He married in, just like this one's wife did, just like Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh did, just like Catherine, Princess of Wales did. All commoners that married into the royal family. But of those four that have married in, where has the problem arisen? This one's wife. How interesting. She's the one, of course, that complained about people making racist comments and how she wasn't supported when she was having mental health difficulties. Yet everybody else seemed to manage. They will have faced their own difficulties. We know that Catherine was given a rough ride of things when she was first involved. We know that Sophie's past as a PR executive was brought up as showing her as a bit of a wild one at times. And of course, Mike Tindall, former rugby player, chug, 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 chug. He's a rugger bugger, so he'll have got up to all sorts. But it's interesting what he has to state to give us a useful comparison to show once again how not only are this one's wife's claims cast into doubt because she's a narcissist, but also because the actual evidence doesn't support it. Alice Wade reports in the Daily Mail, Mike Tindall has revealed he found joining the royal family easy and insisted it was all down to him being nice to them. Ah, what an interesting concept. If you're pleasant and respectful to people, they'll reciprocate it. Something that this one's wife could learn. But of course, this one's wife expected everyone to kowtow to her, that they ought to bow to her demands, driven by her narcissism. The former England rugby star, who was married to King Charles's niece Zara, is known for his close relationship with several of his wife's family and has revealed it was easy to fit in with the royals. Well, I guess it is. After all, whilst they have their own quirks, they are human beings, and I guess it's quite easy to fit in if you behave in a decent way, if you don't tell lies about them, if you don't go around making unnecessary demands, if you don't go around with somebody always in your sights, if you don't go around bullying people, it does make it much easier to fit in. In a new interview with the Telegraph newspaper to promote his upcoming book, The Good, the Bad and the Rugby, Unleashed, with James Haskell and Alex Payne, the former rugby player said, joining royal life was simple, really. In the book, which is set to be released 24th of October, Mike, 45, recalled joining the royal family after marrying Princess Anne's daughter, Zara, in 2011. He wrote, believe it or not, marrying into the royal family was pretty easy for me. They were always nice to me and I was always nice to them. Simple, really. The easy marriage of lives is in stark contrast with others, namely Prince Harry's wife, this one's wife, who formerly stepped down from all royal duties alongside her husband in 2020, less than 2 years after she joined the family. Meanwhile, this one's wife's transition into royal life was marred by tense relations with the family, including her eventually resulting in the couple split from their roles as senior royals. The American actress was reported to have a tense and troubled relationship with her sister-in-law, Kate Middleton, following alleged disagreements surrounding this one's wife's choice of flower girls' dresses at her wedding in 2018. In comparison, Mike is seen to have nurtured his relationships with his in-laws, including Prince William and his eldest son, George. During the interview, Mike revealed the close bond he shares with Prince George XI, the firstborn prince, son of Prince and Princess of Wales. The rugby fanatic is known to have a close relationship with the young royal and was snapped affectionately ruffling his hair during December's Christmas Day service. Mike noted that George loves playing football and is a huge Aston Villa fan like his father, Prince William. George loves his football. I've played numerous times in the garden with him. He's passionate about Aston Villa too. Wherever he is, he'll sit down and watch that game. And giving an insight into the Princess of Wales' favourite sport, he added, "They're just a family who loves sport. Catherine loves her running." The Princess of Wales has at previous engagements enjoyed abseiling, tennis, football, and even a foot race with her husband, Prince William, and his now estranged brother, Prince Harry. Notice as well how Mike Tindall talks about the interests of other people rather than talking about himself. Prince William is known to enjoy a bromance with Tindall, so it comes as no surprise that Mike is also close to his eldest son. Speaking to The Times earlier this year, one royal source dubbed Mike, 45, and Zara, 43, the glue of their generation of royals, no matter how serious the occasion. They can help take the family's mind off the gravity of what is going on, they added. While some family members can be very royal, Mike is just himself and is relaxed and playful with George, Charlotte, and Louis. It helps that they all have children around the same age that they can fool around together privately and bring a sense of normality to what is a stressful situation for everyone involved. Oh, but doesn't Harry and this one's wife have a pair of children that could play with the other children with their cousins and bring some normality to what is a stressful situation? Oh, but they choose to live in another country and never bring the children to visit their relatives. Mike interviewed William for his podcast, The Good, the Bad and the Rugby, last year. There, the Prince of Wales revealed that Zara's victory in equestrian eventing was the only time he'd been moved to tears while watching sports. During a discussion at Windsor Castle, the father of three said, "The only time I've ever cried when watching sport was when Zara won, I think it was the European Championship." Also taking part in the podcast were William's wife Kate and Zara's mother, William's aunt Princess Anne, herself an accomplished equestrian. Notice, of course, these individuals might have been guests for this one's wife on her podcast, but she couldn't have them because of the way that she had behaved and ostracised them. Mike Tindall explains it was pretty easy to assimilate into the royal family. He just said it was a case of treating them decently, and they treated him decently. The fact is, they also spent time becoming integrated into the family. This one's wife, also as a narcissist, rushed matters in her ensnarement of Harry, which of course caused people to perhaps be a little more wary of her, with good cause. But it also meant that the assimilation was not as smooth as it might have been. The fact is that Mike Tindall is able to respect the family that he enters into. This one's wife can't. She has no emotional empathy. She thinks everybody should kowtow to her. She hasn't shown any respect, for instance, to her father, much less anybody in the royal family. And that's why it's problematic with her. Her narcissism gets in the way. You see, this one's wife likes to portray it as the royal family being the problem. But as you can see, in relation to Catherine, Sophie, and Mike, it's not the royal family that's the problem. They've assimilated and been welcomed very easily. It just goes to demonstrate once again that this one's wife's claims that the royal family were problematic isn't actually borne out by the evidence. And it's all about the fact that this one's wife was the problem, as she continued to be. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.